I left my house some time ago. And then when I finally got here, you know where the Cheesecake Factory's at? I'm parked across the street from the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh no!
When I was glad that it wasn't summer, because I would be wringing wet if it were summer right now. I think we got at least one that was here last week in Cool Springs. Anybody else? Okay, last week in Cool Springs, I talked about an ill-fated trip that I took to New York City, where anything and everything that could go wrong did go wrong. From flights that laid over 19 and a half hours in Philadelphia on my way to New York, to canceled tickets, to missed flights, to accidentally getting in private car services instead of taxis, to lost reservations at Holiday Inn Express, to just a variety of things that went wrong, and all of it because I decided to do things as cheaply as humanly possible. And what happened was, by doing things cheaply, I wound up spending more, literally, than I could have done everything first class. I could have done first class round trip airfare, stayed in a 4-star hotel, had private ground service, the whole 9 yards for what I paid for the cheapest thing possible. And that was where I left my, that was the point of my story last week, was don't do things on the cheap. A very legitimate story. A very legitimate point. But that really wasn't the whole point of my story about Gate 3 Terminal D in LaGuardia. Well, really the point of that story, which the whole thing is a 40-minute presentation that I was trying to cram into 10 minutes. So we'll go to the second half of the story and see what we can get into that one. The whole point of that story is I was sitting in Gate 3 Terminal D in LaGuardia. I was tired, I was frustrated, I was mad. And not really at the airline, not at the hotel, not at the ground service. You know, that it wasn't their fault what happened. It was my fault what happened. I was mad at me. Not so much that things happened that did. You know, I didn't have to have done the things that I did. What I was mad about was the fact that I had put myself in a situation that I felt that I needed to do those things. Why did I feel like I needed to get the cheapest airfare? Why did I feel like I needed to stay in the Holiday Inn Express instead of the Westin? Why did I feel like I needed to take a taxi or an Uber instead of have a private car service? There was a time in my life where I wouldn't have even considered doing those things. I was a defense contractor at one time. I wouldn't have even considered taking a non-refundable flight. You know, I would have flown first class. I would have stayed in the Westin Hotel because I knew that that's where the people were. That's where the people that could help me were. You know, if you want to know where to network, it's not in the non-refundable ticket seats. You know, there's nobody in cattle class that can help you build your brain. There's very few people that are staying at the Holiday Inn Express that can help you build your business. But yet that's where I was. And what I discovered was that is anybody a Pink Floyd fan? Okay, anybody familiar with the song Comfortably Numb? There's a part of that song that I found very germane to my situation in Comfortably Numb. It says, when I was a child, I had a vision. Out of the corner of my eye, I turned to look and it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it now. The child is grown, the dream is gone. I have become comfortably numb. What I found is that I had become comfortably numb in my situation. At one time, I did have a vision. I had a dream. But I had become complacent and had become comfortable in my situation. How many know that you can become comfortable at $20,000 a year and you can become comfortable at $200,000 a year? Our situation is our situation. Our condition is our condition. We can enter what is called the comfort zone, which is the most dangerous place that you can be when it comes to dreams and hopes. There is no room for hope and dreams in the comfort zone. What happens when you get into the comfort zone is you become a thief. I had become a thief. I was stealing from myself, I was stealing from my wife, I was stealing from my kids, I was stealing from anybody that could possibly be doing anything. Now, I had a wake-up call there in Gate 3 Terminal D that brought me out of that out of that situation. I could no longer be, I had no reason, no excuse to be comfortable anymore. Now, we all have our reasons to enter the comfort zone. The reasons why we could stay. And I have a lot of good reasons to be comfortable, to stay where I was. I have a laundry list of things that are wrong with me that are reason enough to say, you know what, I'm just going to stay where I am, I'm going to be comfortable where I am, and I'm not going to do any more. I have a number of physical and mental illnesses that are enough to make it so that anybody could justify not doing anything. But what happened was, to me, in my situation, as I decided that I've never been comfortable, and I have no excuse to be comfortable, so I'm going to move on and I'm not going to be comfortable again. I'm going to get out of that comfort zone. But what did I do? I decided that I had a book rolling around in my head. I'd always wanted to write a book. So I decided that I was going to write a book. Now, this was in about this time last year that this happened. So I decided I was going to write a book. In March, that book hit the bestseller list on Amazon.
Woo!
I've never written a book. Last week, that one hit the bestseller list on Amazon. So going from no books to 2 books in less than a year. I got over being comfortably numb. Now, like I say, I had every reason to become comfortably numb. I had every reason to stop. Now, there are people who have worse conditions than I have. No question. There are people who have a worse situation than I have. You may have a worse situation than I have. But the thing is, quitting is not an option for me. I cannot quit. You know, I fall down a lot. You know, I always try to fall forward. Now, how many, you all, and I'm not saying anybody here has, but it's very easy to slip into the comfort zone. And if you examine where you are, you may find that you've gotten a little bit comfortable, that you've gotten a little complacent with where you are. And it's easier to get comfortable when you have a degree of success. Say, you know, I got my Audi, I got my Mercedes, I got my Lincoln, I've got a nice house in Green Hills. One of those nights I've seen a lot of it today. But you know, and it's easy to get comfortable. But what would make you uncomfortable? What's the thing that's rolling around in your head that's like, you know, I could never do that. You know, it's something I'd like to do, but gosh, you know how to trap a monkey? Does anybody know how to trap a monkey? In South America, they do this. You know how they do it? Cut a hole in a coconut. It's just a little bit smaller than a monkey's fist. You put a piece of banana in the coconut, and a monkey will reach inside the coconut and grab the banana. And once that banana is so bad that it won't let go, and the hole is too small for the monkey to pull its fist through the hole in the banana, and they can just catch the monkey because it won't let go of the banana. There's a lot of times in our lives that we get a hold of the banana and we won't let go, and we can't get our fist out of the hole, and so it keeps us from being free because we're too happy with the banana, and we want that banana so bad that we won't let ourselves free. So, you know, if you got a hold of the banana, you know, let go so you can get away from that coconut. So, you know, like I say, there's a lot of things that we do that are comfortable. Get uncomfortable. You know, break free from the comfort zone. Get your eye back on the vision, and be free. So, thank you very much.
Awesome.